Beamish, 5th in the world in the steeplechase. How does that sound?
If you told me that at Mount Set Relays in April, that I would somehow be slightly dissatisfied with 5th in the world, shit, I have a hard time believing you. I'm in shock with how gettable that medal was. But I could see it with like a lap to go, maybe 600 to go. It was right there, and I knew they were going to have a average last lap. And I've been saying we've been saying it all year. I've been saying it all year on every episode of the Coffee Club that those two guys are a class above, and they are. Full credit to them. And we've been saying all year that bronze is wide open, and I can't believe how right I was. But I'm gonna try and move on as quickly as possible and be pretty freaking stoked with being 5th in the world in 6 months. It's pretty surreal.
When you see 1K at 250, are you kind of just licking your chops?
I'm not looking, honestly. No. And I wish I felt as good as I did a couple of days ago. I think I just felt a little flat even at that pace, just fractionally. The other day I felt freaking unstoppable. I mean, I felt good today. I felt really calm warming up, felt really prepared. Body was in a really good place coming off the first one. And I mean, felt good enough to have a good last 800, but just not good enough in the middle to make that move like I did in the first round. From like 10th or 11th to 4th or wherever I needed to be. I know that I don't need to be at the front. I just need to be closer than I freaking was. It just give me like 15 meters and I'm sweet. But I made it 50 and it was a little much.
At the bell, were you still thinking medal? Do you think medal at that point though?
I knew they were going to have a bad last lap. I could just see it, and I watched them stumble on like every single hurdle.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, in my mind, I just felt fractionally flat. Like, I couldn't get into top gear. It just wasn't quite there. And maybe I still had a good last 50, but I just needed to have, like, a better last, or second to last 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, it was fun. I feel unbelievably more comfortable in a steeplechase race than I've ever done in a flat race with no barriers. I don't know why. I just feel like maybe I am a steeplechaser.
Yeah.
It's the first time that you've ever had to do 2 steeplechases in a few day period, right? Like, how is that on the legs? Is that something you think about preparing for in a different way next year?
I mean, I felt pretty rough right after the first round. Like, I was having trouble cooling down and ended up doing my cool down on the physio table with our chiro Jason, just to work out some kinks. I get some just ankle like stiffness, and my knee was a bit bung from the first round. But by the next day, jogging, feeling pretty good. Yesterday, feeling good, and I felt as good as I could have hoped warming up, and just today in general. But I don't know if I could do anything different, apart from just maybe be a little bit more aggressive in the middle. I think it was just the middle few laps, just let it get away, and then just it was there all along. I just only realized it with a few 100 meters to go.
A few years ago, you're a guy who we know is very talented but has struggled with injuries. Why, moving to the steeplechase, are you now able to stay healthy enough to put together a season like this?
I think it was the other way around. I got healthy enough to start trying it. That was all it was, really. I mean, I had that. I came in, moved to Boulder with double shin stress fractures, basically, and got a little bit healthy, and then had that sacral one the year of the Olympics, and that's over 2 years ago. And that was like my last one where I felt like I was still in that cycle, and that was February 2021. I mean, I've had some niggles since then and weeks off, but nothing to the extent where it was like that big of a risk to try it. Like, my body's been in a good place for a couple of years, and I had all the physical attributes to try it. Like, even I knew that. I wasn't that keen to try it. Ritz had to be pretty persuasive, but I knew that the potential was there. It was more I just felt like I was so disappointed with how I kept running on the flat that I didn't want to be the guy that went to it because I couldn't do the flat events. And I don't necessarily feel like that, but that was what I didn't want to be.
Did you feel like last year, World Indoors, you said 2 races in 3 days, it was just tough for you, not having the strength to do it. Do you feel stronger than you were at this point, being able, I know you said you weren't quite as recovered, but it seems like you were more recovered for 2 races in, 4 days this time than you were last year?
Yeah, I said that before I knew I had COVID though.
Oh, okay.
But
do you feel stronger?
I definitely am, yeah. And saying that, I think I would be in a better place regardless. I think just the amount of running I do now, which is still less than everyone else on the team.
How much?
Compared to what I used to do is just astronomically different.
Yeah.
And I think that lets you recover better, for sure. Just being able to not be as beat up from running a bunch.
Yeah. How many miles do you run compared to the rest of the team?
I mean, it's not a huge amount of difference, maybe 15 to 20 less a week. I just still, now that we have I'm lucky enough to be on the OAC and we have a pretty epic setup in Boulder where we have whatever those boost treadmills cost, and I just do 20 miles a week on that, and that kind of lets me catch up to the guys where I only have to do 5 days a week on the ground. But those miles still just let me get way stronger the rest of the time.
So you're at what, roughly total?
Maybe 70 on the ground, 65 to 70 on the ground, and sometimes 15 to 20 on an Ultra-G boost, whatever it is.
Gotcha.
1 year ago in Eugene, it was all about the heat.